Over my career at Pricewaterhouse, then Gartner, now Deal Architect, I've been lucky to be invited to hundreds of vendor events and many more vendor demos, vendor briefings, et cetera, et cetera. Now, during the pandemic, most of them have obviously moved to virtual format. What hasn't happened is they haven't been adapted to the fact that most of us have Zoom fatigue. We're watching way too much video. And so I'd hope that they would be compressed into 20, 30-minute formats. Not too many have been. So I was particularly inspired by an interview I did with Rob Enslin of Google Cloud now. And he described his one day around the world client meetings. And watching that, I was saying, my God, if he can do that, I think he can move the vendor presentation format a little bit. But first, let's hear from Rob.
I run an organization that's global in nature, and I have for many, many years touched the world in different places. From the East in Japan all the way to California. And I had a customer. I started my morning at 7 a.m. About 2 weeks ago, with a customer in Nagoya, a car manufacturer in Nagoya, and then a university in Kyoto. And then I went on to Indonesia with one of our big social digital native companies. Then off to my financial services company in Germany, Deutsche Bank, having discussions with them. And then into Brazil with a company in Brazil, 2 companies in Florida, into a company in New York, and ended up in California later in that day. And at night, before I went to bed, my last customer was back in Indonesia. And I thought to myself, wow, just think about that. 7, 8 companies in one day all around the world would probably have taken me 2 to 3 weeks to get that accomplished, traveling around the world with hours between driving between the customer, trying to get a calendar organized, this one's not available on that date. And so trying to get your hotels organized, the cities, the travel, all of that disappeared. And in one day,
I was inspired, having listened to Rob, to launch what I call the Analyst Cam series. So, it started off with vendor briefings. I asked vendors if I could record them as they were briefing me, and then excerpt from that. So I've had a number of vendors. So Unit 4, as they were launching their ERPX at their conference this summer, allowed me to, they pre-briefed me, and I ran that on the day of their conference. So that was a nice touch. When Zoom launched Zaps, Ross Mayfield briefed me about that in a 20-minute briefing. 6 River, which automates warehouses, presented kind of an interactive session on their Chuck robots. And again, a 20-minute format, thanks to Guy Cortin. Not just vendor demos or vendor presentations. Leanne, who co-heads Workday Ventures, actually gave me a presentation on the venture philosophy. She went through her portfolio, fair amount of detail, and did it in 18 minutes. Great job. I next started bringing in vendors to say, hey, look, you guys do surveys all the time. Why don't you present highlights from the survey? So Rimini Street presented on their PeopleSoft survey. Again, 15, 20 minutes. Nice job on that. I had Jerry Foster, CTO of Plex, present from his manufacturing data set, a bunch of excerpts from his data, a lot of visualization. Pretty amazing to see the V curve around the world as manufacturing has bounced back. Stacey Harris from Sapient Insights presented her annual HR findings. 23rd year. It's a great survey, has been going on forever. Diane Hinchcliffe from Constellation presented his CIO survey results for 2021. Looking forward. So, it's been nice to have all these vendors and analysts, summarize, highlight their findings. Next, I try to excerpt from different vendor events that I've been part of. Now, this year, obviously, most of them have gone virtual. So I asked vendors, can you share with me videos of the recordings? And Salesforce in particular was very, very generous. So from one event focused on the industry's coverage, they gave me 5 gigabytes of data of video to excerpt from. And I excerpted in 3 different posts, different sessions covering about 9 different industries. So that was a great start. The success factors allowed me to excerpt from their analyst day. Again, excerpted about 20 minutes from that. Same thing with Workfront. They allowed me to excerpt from their analyst day. The vendor events have not been as vibrant as I thought they would be. What I'm finding is after an event is over, the poor events folks are so exhausted. The last thing they want to do is to help me get my videos. Hey, give me a video from this session, this session, this session. They're ready to go relax, go on vacation, whatever. I completely understand. But given all the different formats, different events I've been covering, it's now over about 50 episodes. So overall, it's been a great start. What's next? I'm starting to invite authors to present highlights from their books. Why not? If they can do it in 15, 20 minutes, why not? I'm doing more startups, inviting more startups to come make presentations. And I'm trying to get a discipline going. Not everyone has been able to keep their presentations under 20 minutes. And by the way, I ask a lot of questions in briefings, so not always their fault. But I'm trying to keep it to 20 minutes because I'm finding people, just are not just tolerant of much longer videos. But my biggest hope is I want to be like Rob. I like to do around the world of Analyst Cam recordings in one day. In Asia, move over to Europe, move over back to the East Coast of the US, California, etc. But to be able to do that, I may have to borrow his scheduling team. My God, I don't know how he did all those appointments in one day. So he's my hero. And Analyst Cam definitely was inspired by his remarkable day.